You're watching Gearz, brought to you by Ram Truck.
You know, most people realize the importance of public servants, from policemen to firemen to road construction workers to sanitation workers. I mean, there's a bunch out there, and these are the people that keep our towns and cities operating. The problem is, there is one group that's almost always overlooked, and that is the volunteer fire department. Now, since these guys are volunteers, most of the time they don't get paid anything to put their life on the line to protect you and your family. On top of that, they generally have to use old, worn-out equipment that they got from old fire departments. Well, we figured that is unacceptable. Now, obviously, we can't do something for every volunteer fire department out there, but we can do something for the local one. So we decided we were going to take their brush truck and transform it into something that they can really use. The truck in question is a 2008 Chevy 4x4 dually that basically had a tank and a pump tossed into it so it could fight a fast-spreading brush fire. Unfortunately, brush fires don't just happen on the highway, and they move very quickly. So this truck, as it sits, is kind of limited in what it can do. We're going to change that. The first step was to ship the truck off to First Attack Engineering, because they build the most unique and functional brush trucks on the planet. That's probably because of the unique history of owner Jeffrey Cook. Jeffrey grew up, like most kids, completely enamored with mechanical things.
I had an auto teacher. We had an auto mechanics class, and his name was Van Smith, and that guy he's still a great guy. You know, he kind of put his arm around me and said, you know, kid, you got potential. And I was always the one asking him questions out of the box. I was always, you know, hey, what can I do with this? Or how can I do that? I want to make this go faster.
But as he grew older, four-wheel drive trucks, and especially monster trucks, was all he could think about. And it wasn't long before Jeffrey was deeply involved in the monster truck world, both as a builder and a driver, piloting his wildfire truck through the 90s.
I was able to put my own truck together back in '93. And ran and campaigned my own trucks up through 2003. This is one of our little unique tricks.
Now, since Jeffrey is an actual firefighter too, he quickly figured out a way in which his experience in monster trucks could actually help save lives and equipment in a fire situation.
So they'll be able to drive this truck right around behind on the backside, you know, in the middle of the night, and turn this on and light up a lot of area.
And the First Attack brush truck was born.
The fire chief come up to me one day back in the mid-90s and says, you know, hey, you're always building all these dune buggies and monster trucks and stuff. We need a new brush truck. Do you think you can build one? I says, well, yeah, I can build it, but I tell you what, it ain't gonna be like anything you're used to seeing. I got a lot of ideas that would make this thing safer and more efficient.
Every First Attack truck begins with the truck being stripped down to a cab and chassis to prepare it for the custom bed that'll be fabricated for it. Superlift suspension provided a 6-inch suspension lift to add some ground clearance and off-road ability to the truck. After that, the bed is literally hand-built to meet the needs of the specific customer. Using round tubing, diamond plate aluminum, and any number of boxes, pumps, tanks, you name it. Basically, if you can dream it, First Attack can build it for you. But when the smoke clears, the transformation is astounding. Yeah. Hey, welcome back to Gearz, where we are in the process of taking a virtually stock Chevy dually brush truck and transforming it into something special for the local volunteer fire department. And the first thing we did was send it off to First Attack Engineering so they could work their magic on it. Now, there is no doubt this is a cool looking truck, but this isn't a toy and it's not a show truck. This is a real working fire truck, and people's lives depend on this thing. So everything is on here for a reason. For example, that 6-inch suspension lift, that's going to give us better ground clearance and better off-road ability. And using a reputable company like Superlift means the guys are going to be able to pound on this thing for years and not have any problems with the suspension. The dual rear wheels are gone because they can pack up with mud and rocks in an off-road situation and cause traction problems. The truck is now fitted with a special first attack wheel and 35-inch tall Mickey Thompson Baja MTZ tires. These will make sure that the truck handles well on the road and off.
Well, that was another one of those things. We just seen a need for it, and we built a single wheel that we could put on a dually truck and make it a whole lot more off-road friendly.
Now, the bed features a water tank and a pump, like most brush trucks, and an upper hose reel, so you can actually take the battle right out here to the fire. But sometimes the fire comes after you, and you gotta move quick. And that's what these little jump seats are for on either side of the truck. Fireman can jump into one of these, strap himself in, and go back to fighting the fire while the truck is in motion. Now keep in mind, he's not going anywhere because he's strapped in, he's protected between the cab and the tank, and he has a complete roll cage going over the top of him in case things get nasty. This is an incredible design and is already proven to save lives, property, and equipment.
Most of the brush trucks in the industry are just flatbeds with boxes and tanks mounted on them. You know, ours are very unique. Ours have their own character.
The high-speed ability of the truck continues with a front sprayer mounted on the bumper that will allow the truck to be driven right into the fire if it has to be.
Now these don't look like they're putting out a lot of water,
Yeah.
but each one of them's putting out 5 gallon a minute. So you're pumping 20 gallon a minute out
Yeah.
the front end. This is a fine mist,
Yeah.
which actually puts out more fire than if it was a straight stream.
Okay.
What it does is it pulls the heat out of the fire. It kind of just
Yeah.
kind of smothers it.
Now, you're probably thinking that the truck is done, but we're not quite ready to send it back to the firehouse yet. Since we have 6 inches of lift on it now, we have got to do something to help the firemen step up into this thing. So we went to DZ, got a set of these aluminum diamond plate running boards because they're going to match the bed and they're going to take care of the step problem. To install the running boards, first bolt the support brackets to the body mounts underneath. Then just fit the boards to the brackets. Drill your holes, bolt them on. Now that looks good. That looks like a fire truck. Now, so far our focus has been on the body and the equipment on the truck, which is great. But one thing that a brush truck has got to have is speed. I mean, it's got to be able to get in and out of places quickly. And it's got to have enough grunt to carry a big water tank and all this equipment. Keep in mind, we're not trying to build a hot rod here though. It's got to be safe and reliable, because like we said before, people's lives are going to depend on how well this truck performs. So it can't overheat, can't break down, can't give us any problems. So we went to Gale Engineering, see if we can do something about working over that Duramax. Hey, we're back, and if you're just getting here, oh, you've missed a lot, because we are in the process of building a state-of-the-art brush truck for the local volunteer fire department. And the reason is, these guys put their lives on the line all the time for free, so the least we can do is give them some good equipment to work with. Now, as you can see, the bed and the body are done. Now it's time to really light a fire under the hood. The system we're using comes from Gale Engineering, and it's called the Power Pack. And it's all designed to work together to give you up to 100 extra horsepower and 235 extra foot-pounds of safe, reliable power. Now they do that by, first of all, getting more air into the engine with this air inlet system. As you can see, there's a new box for the filter, nice radius bends, and a high-flowing filter. This will actually flow 50% more air than your stock system. Then, of course, everything goes into the turbo. It's all compressed. It gets hot and bothered. Then it flows into this big Banks intercooler. Now, this will cool everything way down and is also big enough to have the capacity to handle all that extra airflow. Then, of course, everything goes into the engine and the magic happens. Now, of course, getting more air out is just as important as getting it in. So the system also includes this monster exhaust system. It features 4-inch stainless steel tubing, mandrel bends, so you're gonna get great flow out of it. But the best thing about this exhaust system is this little thing here called the cool cuff. Now, most people realize that the exhaust coming out of a diesel engine can actually be hot enough to start a fire. The last thing that they want to do with a fire truck. What the cool cuff does is allows air to flow in here. It actually goes into the pipe, mixes with the exhaust, so by the time it comes out the tailpipe, it's just warm. If you use your truck for construction, ranching, farming, anything where there's a potential to start a fire, you have got to have one of these. Now, I know you're wondering about an engine management system. The Power Pack comes with that too. Check this out. You got the Economine diesel tuner and the Banks IQ. Now, what this will allow you to do is change power levels while you're driving down the road and make all kinds of other adjustments to make sure your engine is running at peak performance and economy. You also have a backup camera to see what's going on behind you. Now, I know this looks like a lot of stuff, and it is, but it's not that hard to put in. And it's the perfect setup for somebody that's doing a lot of towing and hauling, which is exactly what a fire engine does.
There is no comparable product in the aftermarket. It doesn't exist. In fact, there's no OE comparable product, no option. At Banks, we are the option that the factory doesn't offer. That's been our market position from the very beginning.
The air intake system is the first to go as we get the stock intake tube and airbox out of the way. After that, the front end needs to come apart so we can replace the intercooler. That means the grill needs to come off and everything in front of it.
Now, Quick Tip. Brought to you by E3 Spark Plugs. Born to burn.
Now, this is a prime example of what volunteer fire departments have to deal with. Now, obviously, a well-meaning person wired up these lights in the grill a long time ago, but they either didn't know what they were doing or they just were in a serious hurry because this is a mess. Check this out. They've got splices on top of splices. They've got both positive and negative eventually running into white wiring. They've even got duct tape on the connections. This is crazy. Now, obviously, the point here is not to focus on bad work. It's to warn you that you're going to be tempted to put this back together just like this when you reassemble your vehicle because you don't want to mess with it and the lights were working, so it should be okay, right? Wrong. The quick tip is to remind you to fix stuff like this properly, especially if it deals with electrical or fuel systems, because if you don't, this is going to come back and bite you. The crazy thing is, it's only going to take a few minutes to do this properly. If you'd like to learn more tips to make your life easier in the shop, check out the tips page on the website. Next, we'll pull off the inner fenders. The headlight assemblies. The latch support. And finally, the old intercooler. Now it's just a matter of dropping in the new Banks intercooler and putting it all back together. Hey, we're back and coming down the final stretch of converting a 2008 Chevy pickup into a state-of-the-art brush truck for the local volunteer fire department. Now, obviously, there's a lot of changes done to this body and a lot of changes under the hood. But the cool thing is, everything we did under the hood is 50 state emissions legal, and it's all readily available for you to put on your truck so you can have better economy and better performance without sacrificing reliability. We started with the Banks cold air intake system and intercooler that work together to deliver a cool, dense blast of air to your engine. We followed that with their Monster exhaust system to help get air out. The computer also got a serious upgrade by plugging in the Banks diesel tuner. All of this will not only allow the truck to get where it needs to go in a hurry, but also allow the firefighters to keep rolling even if the pavement ends. Now you can see why it was so important to add a suspension lift and bigger tires. To help bring all that weight to a stop, the Banks speed brake is the perfect thing to add if you need additional braking power to help stop a heavy vehicle like a fully loaded fire truck. But one of the coolest things that we put on is this little unit called the Banks IQ Flash. Now, I know it looks like a conventional tuner, but it's not. It's actually got a lot more in common with your smartphone than a conventional tuner. Check it out. You can change power levels, adjust your speed brake, even monitor your gauges all while driving down the road. There's the ability to stream and download stuff, talk on the phone, or see what's behind you with the backup camera.
All the stuff your dashboard doesn't do or doesn't serve to you, we do.
And then, of course, there's the GPS, the turbo timer, the onboard dyno, the density gauge, the carbon footprint gauge, and on and on. The IQ Flash basically gives a person the ability to interface with a vehicle's computer in so many ways it'll blow your mind.
There is no comparable product in the aftermarket. It doesn't exist. In fact, there's no OE comparable product.
And when you add all that to the rest of the rig, you end up with a vehicle that will do the job it's meant to do, no matter what the situation.
When they go in harm's way, if they need to get in, it has to be reliable so that when it's time to get the hell out of Dodge, there's enough Banks horsepower to get them up and out of there.
At this point, it was finally time to take the truck back to the fire station and let the volunteers take a break and check out their new rig.
Oh man, that is sharp. Hey, buckle up, Dave. Thank you.
It's nice. But the break didn't last too long because the alarm went off. And the new brush truck had to get back to work. The perfect end of a great project. Now that is what it's all about, and that's Gearz. But that's not quite the end of the story. The chief told us that there was some old equipment out back that they didn't need anymore. And we were welcome to it if we wanted it. And that's an offer that we just couldn't turn down. Of course, obviously we'll need to fix this properly. And just hope that doesn't fall off when we're driving down the road. Power on.
This thing gonna run?
I hope so. Switch on. Hit the switch. Listen to that thing, man. Reminds me of those days driving a bus. Got all kinds of controls here. What does these do? Cars are pulling over. Yeah, I guess I know what that is. Oh, this is awesome, man. Who wouldn't want a fire truck?
What are you working on? Brought to you by Color Match, the solution for your auto body needs.
Today's What Are You Working On comes from Ross Osborne from Havelock, New Brunswick, Canada. And Ross is a retired tool maker, and one day his son comes to him and says, "Dad, can you build me a mini bike for my daughter?" Well, of course, Ross goes, "Yeah," but he had no idea what the project would turn into. This is what it turned into. Yeah, a full-blown mini chopper. Now, he said that they bought some plans, but they pretty much threw those out the window and just built this thing from scratch. Check out this rear suspension. The rear tire is off a golf cart. He said it looked too cool to cover up, so he built a single-side swing arm to hold it and put in an air-ride suspension. The air tank and the battery are hidden in this fake oil tank that sits under the seat. And that's just the rear suspension. Check out the front. You have extended forks, handmade triple trees, and 6-shooter handlebar risers. Wait a minute. I thought you said you were building this for the granddaughter. She's gonna have a little bit of a problem with the vehicle. It's 9 feet long. It has a 10 horsepower Briggs & Stratton engine in it, and he said it shakes like a Harley when it's idling, but Ross has had it up to 50 miles an hour, and he says that's a little scary because it's so low to the ground. Yeah, I would think so. Now, he says that his wife thought he was nuts, so she wouldn't take any pictures of him, but as you can see from this picture, the son and the granddaughter thinks that it's great. Ross, great project. We love it, man. So, to help you out with your next project, we're gonna give you some paint guns from Color Match. We got a detail gun, we got a finish gun, and we got a primer gun, so you won't ever have to farm out any more painting. Also, we're gonna give you a year's supply of Hot Rod magazine so you can come up with some more crazy ideas. Now, for the rest of you guys, if you want to get your project featured on the show, you gotta send it into What Are You Working On? We'll see if we can get it on the air. Also, don't forget to check us out on Facebook and like us, because we got all kinds of crazy stuff going on there too. All right, that does it for us today. We'll see you next week.